Hello everybody. Here I am in the kitchen. I'm here. I'm thinking about cooking some corned beef hash. It just might happen. It's one of those things that you appreciate in life. I've been around a long time. By golly, I've been around for 63 years. Who'd have thought? Yeah, and I got, certain memories. Tonight I was thinking about my mom. And I was thinking about, when I was young. My mom passed away many years ago. But I remember one time she was in the hospital. And this was in Memphis, Tennessee. And my brothers and I went to see her. And she'd had a car wreck. Yeah, she got in a wreck. And, but she looked okay. When I went there, I have a visual. I can remember the building. It was like 2 or 3 stories tall. But I remember seeing this big building. I remember going inside with our stepfather Warren and my brothers Fred and Richard, and we went in there, and Mom was laying there on a bed. She seemed okay. She was in good spirits, and what excited me was she could push a button on that darn bed, and that bed would you would lift your legs up. It would you could push the button again and lower it down. But she could lower that bed, and she could raise that bed, and she could move it in all kinds of ways. And I thought that was the coolest thing. It was almost worth getting in a car wreck for. But I guess not, right? Of course, when I was young, things like that just seemed really cool. Also in Memphis, Tennessee, I remember my brother Richard went into a store there, and there was ice cream. It was an ice cream freezer there, and they sold ice cream. It was like a little, like a 7-Eleven sort of thing. But before they had 7-Eleven, they didn't have big chains. It was like just a little store, little mom and pop kind of store with all kinds of cool stuff. And he thought the ice on the side of the ice cream machine, it looked inviting, so he bent down and he licked the side of the ice, which was like dry ice. It was like really extremely cold ice, and his tongue stuck there. It stuck, and he was stuck there, man. He couldn't get away. He couldn't. And so somebody called the cops, and they came, and they had to rip his tongue away. Well, that it hurt. And part of his tongue was left there, and it was awful. It was like, and so he was bleeding and everything. He had to get stitches in his tongue for a while. What else do I remember about that period of time in Memphis, Tennessee? Oh, I remember lots of cool stuff. It was, some of it's cool, some of it's not so cool. But one thing I remember was I always loved comic books. I always loved superheroes. And I saw a magazine on the stand, and this was actually, I have a very vivid memory of this. When my brother Richard was at this particular store, across the street there was another similar store, and I remember going in there, and I saw this magazine, and the magazine had pictures of superheroes on the front. And I was so excited because I'd never seen a magazine that talked about superheroes. It had like Captain America and the Submariner and Superman and everything. It was like there was this great story inside. So I picked up the magazine and I was looking through it, and I found the article, and I was all excited. And I thought, but I looked at the price of the magazine, and I can't remember exactly what it was. It might have been $2 or something at that time. This would have been around 1965 or 66, something like that. So I went home and I told my mom. I said, "Mom, there's a magazine I want to buy," and I said it cost this much. It was like probably $2 or $3, probably $2 I think at that time. And she said, "What's the name of the magazine?" And I said, "Playboy." The name of the magazine is Playboy, and it's got this awesome article on superheroes. Somehow I flipped through the book, and all I saw was the article I was looking for. I didn't see, it's Playboy, for crying out loud, right? And she said, no, no. So yeah, that didn't happen. I didn't achieve that purchase. Sure didn't. Also, there was another time I was just walking down the street in that same area from my apartment, or our house. We had a house, and you know, my two brothers, and we had two little sisters, Cheryl and Rachel, who were very, very young. They were born while we were there, and you know, my stepdad Warren was in the well, he was a staff sergeant at the time in the Marines. He later became a master sergeant or a mastery gunnery sergeant or a gunnery sergeant, well, whatever it was. He was a great man, and he served in the Vietnam War, also in the Korean War. But you know, that's beside the point. I was walking down the street one day, headed in that general direction of those stores, and there was a couple of guys that came up behind me, walking behind me. And I remember I was pretty young. I must have been, what, 7 or 8 years old. And these two guys were coming up behind me, and I guess they were bullies. Well, they were absolutely bullies. And one guy said, he stopped me, and he said, hey, he says, you want to smack? And I had no idea what he's talking about. I says, well, okay. And he took his fist and he punched me and knocked me on the ground. And he and his friend, they took off walking, and they were laughing. And I guess that was what a smack was. And I laid there for a while, and I just cried and cried and cried. And then I got pissed off. It was too late. I got up, and I said, you know, where are you guys? Where are you? What are you going to do? You going to smack me again? I was a coward. I was young. It was too late. They already did what they were going to do, and it was... Anyway, you know, it was a beginning of learning that not everyone in the world is such a nice person, and that I wouldn't always be strong enough to stand up to certain bullies. They were out there, and I was beginning to learn about bullies. That's what I learned that day. So, my mom and my stepdad, he went off to Vietnam. When he came back, my mom and my stepdad had broken up. She sent us to our dad in North Carolina. My sisters, Cheryl and Rachel, they stayed in Memphis. But my older brothers, Fred, Richard, and I, we went to North Carolina and back to live with our dad. And those were the days, right? Dang, man. You know what? Right now I'm 63 years old. Been through a lot of stuff. And most of the time I'm still happy. My mom has passed away years ago, many years ago. My dad passed away not too long ago. I keep moving on. It's what I do. It's what I have to do. I've fallen in love with a beautiful woman. Her name is Bibi, and I love her very much. And we're living very content where we are now. And you know, life goes on. It's all good. Life's not perfect, but I'll tell you what, the good times are worth the hardships you endure to get to that point. And we're happy. And I hope you're happy too. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Adios, my friends. Bye-bye. how do I shut this thing off, right? Like this?